Boy, it seems like every week since Whispers in the Well came out, there's a new and big and scary kind of like monster deck out there. And boy, do I have a monster deck for you today. Hello there, Lorcana lovelies. Today in the weekly replay, I am playing the second place list that won the bigger tournament for the weekend, which was hosted by PPG or Pro Play Games. And this is a Amethyst Steel deck by Jonathan Yanick. And we're going to be playtesting that against the winner for the Charlie's Collectible show one, which was the Monstro deck that is making waves, if you will. So we've been on Monstro for a little bit. This is a slightly different version of it. So without further ado, let's go into the deck list and then we'll do the gameplay. We're going to be starting with Zan Syed's list. This is the Monstro list that, like I said, is making some waves. So Josh has been really excited about the Monstro Combo for a while now, and we've been playing versions of it for the last couple months. This version that I have in front of you here that won first place at the Charlie's Collectible show, CCQ is definitely all in the combo, whereas previous versions of the deck that we've run have had like a slightly stronger plan B, if you will. But let's kind of go over some main kind of standout cards for the deck, and then we'll go into some gameplay and see how it works. So first off, we haven't played Huey in the deck, and I really like Huey. I think Huey is a great source of ramp to be able to get out a character earlier. A 2/3 body is pretty decent. With there's a lot of big characters in this, so being able to get essentially like a second lantern but on a character is pretty awesome there. We have the Rafikis and the Royal Guards for early challenges, which is key when there's so many dog decks and little aggressive decks that are going around. But by far one of the best kind of ways to get rid of characters in any purple deck is Cheshire Cat. Cheshire Cat is just absolutely phenomenal. We have one Alan-a-Dale, which I disagree with. I think you should, especially for like a key card in your list that's inkable, I think you should always be playing at least two of it. But this list has one version of Alan-a-Dale. Then we have kind of like your basic card draw package in the form of Genie. You'll notice there's no Dumbos in this list, but we do have the rest of the purple package that goes along very well in any deck, which is Elsa, to be able to exert something and get rid of it right away. Madam Mim to either get your enters play triggers or to be able to move more damage around. Hades, which normally is just draw some cards, however, it could bottom one of your opponent's problem cards if they don't want to give you the extra cards. And Demona that just exerts everything so that you can pick your challengers, which is awesome. You'll notice not a huge amount of evasive answers in this. There's Elsa and Genie, and that's kind of it. But we do have the Horseman Strikes, which is this deck's way of getting rid of evasive characters, which is awesome. It also draws you a card, which there's never complaints about drawing cards, and it's inkable, which is kind of even better there. We have one, a Circle of Life, and I think that's cute things that you can cheat back in your Monstro if you need it. And the combo here is Monstro, Alan-a-Dale, and the Great Illuminari, or we could use Donald Duck. So Donald Duck is the way that we've been doing it, but basically no matter how you're doing it, the combo works the same. You make sure that you have a Monstro out and that he's been out for one whole turn, and then you can either play a Donald Duck or you can move Monstro to the Great Illuminari, which gives him the ability to exert to draw a card. And you pretty much do that and discard the card that you draw off of him to go through your entire deck. When your deck is empty, you play the We Know the Way. You sing We Know the Way, which goes which picks something in your discard pile, and we need it to be Alan-a-Dale first. So you pick Alan-a-Dale, it goes into your deck, it is your only card in your deck, so it means you're guaranteed to hit it off the top of your deck, which means that with We Know the Way, if you reveal the top card of your deck, and it's the same card that you put in from your discard pile, you get to play it for free. So you play Alan-a-Dale for free, and then you do that again, and you sing We Know the Way again to target another We Know the Way, and you chain We Know the Ways, gaining one lore for each We Know the Way that you do that with Alan-a-Dale, and it gets you from 0 to 20 consistently in one turn. It's an awesome deck, very strong deck. We really like it. This is definitely an all in the combo deck, but it is very strong. Now, I will say that there is a nice answer to it, which is if this deck does not get its combo pieces out with all combo decks, it kind of falls apart. So it is totally answerable, but it is a very fun deck. So let's quickly go into the Amethyst Steel deck, and then we will show you some gameplay. All right, so here's the Amethyst Steel one. It is a really good list. I like Amethyst Steel. I really like the removal in pretty much any steel. And you know, Amethyst has got a good amount of steel right now. Amethyst is a very strong color, and you'll see it in the top of most lists in most tournaments, because it not only has card draw, because it is kind of the card draw color, it also has really good answers in the form of like Elsa the Fifth Spirit, Monstro. They're very difficult to deal with and difficult to answer. This deck here, you'll see that has a good amount of ability to challenge characters, in the, especially early characters in the form of Hook, Calhoun, and the Black Heron. But there's also ways to pump up your characters to hit that extra little bit of damage with Madam Mim. We just have one of her for a little bit of flavor. And then we have the kind of like the draw card package, which is an amazing draw card pack. Which is an amazing package in any kind of deck, which is why purple kind of plays, or Amethyst, plays it in kind of like every iteration of the deck, which is Genie, Dumbo, and then a couple of other vases to draw you cards off of the Dumbo. Demona's amazing. She's a superstar in like any deck. I really like exerting all of my opponent's characters, picking the challenges that I want, and if you can do it right, you're gaining 3 cards off of her as well. We only have one of the removal songs in this one, which is the Strength of a Raging Fire. I like Strength of a Raging Fire. I do like the extra ones, like he hurled his Thunderbolt, but 4 damage just isn't really hitting enough of the breakers to be able to get rid of the characters that a lot of these decks worry about. So it was cut to make room for extra characters. Cheshire Cat, like I kind of talked about with the Dumbo list, is or with the monster list, is an all-star as well. Just being able to move damage around makes it so you can cleanly answer characters and keep your characters nice and good and be able to like pick your challenges. So these are our decks. Let's go into some gameplay, and then I have some thoughts about how we could alter the decks afterwards. So we start with game 1 here. So Josh is on the Monstro Combo list and I am on Purple Steel. So Josh is going to start by inking that beautiful Circle of Life, and he's going to play a Royal Guard. So Royal Guard's a pretty decent one, as it does get Challenger 1 for each card he draws, which means he can contest a decent amount of my early characters. I ink and play a Hook. Same idea, is that he does get Challenger 2, so I can contest his early turn. So it's kind of like a stalemate at the beginning is the idea here. Or, you know, that's the hope at least. Going back to Josh's turn, Josh plays a Lantern, which means that when he exerts it, he pays 1 last for the next character, which means that he can play that Rafiki that's in his hand. So another Challenger 1, again, to just kind of stop me from turning my stuff sideways. And I'm going to play a Palace Guard and an Olaf. So the Olaf is pretty cool. The Olaf says that when he leaves play, so it goes to any zone, I can return a character of mine to my hand, which gets me some good replay on my characters that have enter play triggers. Josh is going to play a Genie turn early because that Lantern. That Lantern's a great piece of ramp in these Amber decks, especially like Amber big monster decks like Monstro. And I'm going to play a Lexington. So Lexington's got Alert, which is pretty cool. It means that I can challenge his character's evasive, which is just great. And then going back to Josh's turn here. So here's one of the things with combo is you really need to make sure that you're utilizing your resources correctly. And sometimes it takes an extra couple seconds to really think out what you need now versus what you'll need in a turn or two to make sure that you don't get rid of something that you're going to regret. He plays that beautiful iconic Hades, and he chooses my Lexington. Now, I choose to put the Lexington at the bottom of my deck to rob him of those cards, but I shouldn't have, because that Lexington could have taken out that Genie, and that Genie's going to do a good amount of work for him. I, however, do play a Genie of my own, and then Josh is going to get rid of it right away with a Horseman Strikes, which means that his Genie can quest freely for 2 without any worry. It's pretty awesome card, that the Horseman Strikes, because you also get to draw a card off of it, and there's a lot of evasive characters that you're going to want to get rid of. I'm going to play an Elsa, which will allow me to exert one of his characters. There's a decent amount of characters that I would want to get rid of. The nice things about the early ones that he played is that I'm not going to take a huge amount of damage from it, but instead I'm going to choose the Huey, because the Huey is going to be slightly problematic as it gets him that discount that he needs to play his monster earlier. I challenge him with the Elsa and then with the Olaf, and I use Olaf to bounce my Elsa to my hand. Again, I probably shouldn't have done this, but in my mind, I wanted to be able to potentially re-exert one of his characters, especially if we played something like Monster to try to get rid of it. But Josh is going to seize the opportunity here to get rid of as much of my board as possible by exerting my characters down with Elsa's and then challenging in with everything else. I'm empty boarded. That is a bad feeling, especially against combo, because you need your pieces in play to be able to take out combo. I play an Elsa to get rid of his Genie, but I'm pretty sure that it's too little too late for me here. A couple things played differently may have made a bit of a difference for me, but the board control that Josh has right now is pretty impressive. And he's going to use move everybody to the Great Illuminari, which is pretty neat because it means that he's going to get to draw cards for each person he exerts there. Instead of gaining lore this turn, he wants to gain cards. The nice thing about that Illuminari out early means that Josh can dig for the cards that he needs. And he's got a mitt full of cards now. So I'm going to play 2 Calhouns. My hope is that they'll be able to challenge into things and be able to clean things up for me. But Josh does have some bigger characters and some evasive characters, so the Calhouns might not be as ideal as I want or as effective as I want. I get rid of his character with my Elsa, and then Josh is going to again use the power of the Great Illuminari to draw some cards to dig further into his deck to be able to get his combo pieces here. Josh trades with my Elsa, which means that I got 1 less character, and then he's going to play a Huey, which gets him discounts on his characters when he requests, which is pretty awesome. He's going to play a Junior Woodchuck guidebook, and he's going to use it right away. So it costs 2, and then you can pay 1 and exert it to banish it and draw 2 cards, and most people just do that right the turn it comes out. Josh has got a mitt full of cards again, and I've only got 2 Calhouns on board. I'm going to play a Demona, so he's got to exert everything. He's got a lot of cards, so he can't draw cards off my Demona, but I do get to draw 3 whole new cards. I'm going to use my Calhouns to start challenging down his characters. I get rid of the Huey, that gets him the discounts, and I get rid of one of his characters that could potentially challenge me back. Maybe should have gotten rid of the Royal Guard, but because it could hit a lot harder, but either one of those characters would get rid of my Calhouns. Also thinking maybe I should have gotten rid of the Great Illuminari, but he has not shown me that he has his combo pieces right now, which means that I do have some time to be able to get rid of it, and Demona can clean that up next turn. That's my thoughts, at least. Josh does play the combo piece here, so he uses the Lantern to be able to play it a ink early, and he plays the Monstro. He uses his Hades to clean up one of my Calhouns, and then he's going to use his Palace Guard to get rid of my other one. I can still get rid of that Great Illuminari with my Demona, and that will be very important for me to do so because with the Great Illuminari out and Monstro, Josh will be able to combo off for the game right there. Now, peeking at his hand from the computer, I can see that he has the Donald Duck, so it's not going to matter, but I don't know that at the time. So I'm trying to figure out how to get my resources on the board to try to gain the ground that I'm, behind here. And I'm going to play the Madam Mim Tiny Advisor, and I'm going to play a Cheshire Cat. And I'm mostly doing this to be able to get as many pieces on the board so that I can start trying to get back in the game. I get rid of the Great Illuminari so that Josh can't just kind of do his combo, but he shows me he has the Donald Duck, and we call it there because that's all he needs to be able to win that game. We're going to go on to game 2. So if anybody's interested in knowing how that combo works, because Josh didn't go through the normal motions that he normally goes through, we have a bunch of videos on how Monstro Combo works up on the channel somewhere. Game 2, though, I play a Palace Guard, and Josh just inks and passes. Back to my turn, I play a great Black Heron, which is a 3/3, so a really good kind of challenger early game. Josh plays a Junior Woodchuck guidebook, and I'm just going to kind of play out the Lexington to try to get as many characters out as possible. Josh plays a Cheshire Cat, so we can start to potentially move damage around on my characters, and I am going to play a Genie to draw a card and quest the Lexington and the Palace Guard. The reason I don't quest the Black Heron is because Cheshire Cat can take that out and survive and then move damage around, so I quest with the Lexington because it can kill Cheshire, or the Palace Guard because it doesn't leave a lot of damage kicking around. Josh plays another Cheshire Cat and a Rafiki and does not challenge me, and I play an Elsa to tap one of his Cheshire Cats and take it out with a Lexington. And then I'm going to quest for a whole bunch, and you can kind of see how the tables have turned compared to last game. I do have much better board control here, and my pieces are either just big enough that they are problematic for him, and cheap enough that I can play a decent amount of them to be able to really kind of like gain a footing into this game. Josh uses the guidebook to be able to draw some cards, and then he uses the Horseman Strikes to get rid of my Genie there and also draw a card. And he's going to play the Octopus Guard to be able to have something else to challenge my characters. Gets rid of the Lexington. It's one of the bigger pieces on the board that can challenge evasive, so it's a good idea to get rid of that as soon as he can. And then we go back to my turn here. I'm going to play an Elsa and use it to get rid of his Cheshire Cat there. I'm going to use both my Elsas to challenge into Cheshire Cat, which means that he can't move damage around anymore, and this just kind of solidly puts me into the board control state here because I want to keep him as empty boarded as possible. I quest with my last two characters going up to 11. Josh is going to play a Lantern and a Genie so you can get some discounts on some characters, and he draws 2 cards. He's going to get rid of the Black Heron with the Royal Guard there. Again, he wants to keep my board as empty as possible, and I want to keep his board as empty as possible. It's just this game, I am the one who's doing a better job at it. And I'm going to play an Iago and a Olaf. At this point in time, I'm just going to play out my hand to be able to keep characters out there and keep questing. I quest up to 14. Josh is going to play a Genie. He's going to play a second Genie. He's going to draw some cards, and he's going to use his first Genie to be able to challenge into my Elsa to take her out there. I mean, 3 Genies is great on Josh's side there, but I do have the Iago that can take out his Genie and just take 2 damage from it. And then I think I'm going to quest here. So I quest for 3, puts me up to 17, and I'm going to play an Elsa. I don't tap anything because I'm not going to challenge in with her with anything. At this point in time, it's late enough in the game that I have board control, and I don't want to risk turning another character sideways and having him be able to get rid of it. Now I see the Horseman Strikes in his hand. I think this is just a beautiful card. He's going to use to get rid of the Iago, which can clean up pretty much any of his characters. And then he's going to empty out his hand as best as possible, playing a Huey and a Rafiki before challenging in and trying to empty my field as best as possible. I am going to think about this, but I choose not to use the Olaf trigger because I can quest up to 18, so there's no point in me bouncing one of my characters. If Josh had something else to challenge, maybe, but he doesn't, so I'm going to play a Dumbo. I'm going to use Dumbo's ability on Elsa to gain a lore and draw a card, and I quest up to 19 with the Palace Guard. Back to Josh's turn here. He's kind of got to dig for answers. I'm not 100% sure what he could do about this board state. He needs to be able to get rid of my characters. He chooses, plays a Hades to choose Dumbo. Of course, I'm not going to get rid of my Dumbo. It does give him 2 extra cards, but at this point in time, that he's kind of, I only need 1 more lore, so I only need 1 more character to stick around. He uses Elsa to exert my Dumbo, but there's nothing else that he can really do to take out all of my characters, so we go on to game 3. At this point in time, it is 1-1. Josh is on the play, and Josh plays a Rafiki, so Challenger 3, which is going to mean that I don't get any of that early cheeky lore just from being able to play some small characters. And I choose to play a Palace Guard. I play the Palace Guard because Rafiki can't take it out at least. And then Josh is going to play a Huey. I really like this Huey. The fact that you can kind of pay 1 less for your next character and quest with it is great. I'm going to play a Madam Mim Tiny Advisory and quest because he can't really take out my Palace Guard, or if he does, it kind of opens his stuff up to being challenged. Now, it's been a while since I've played Madam Mim Tiny Advisory, and I kind of made a mistake here when playing. I thought that she gave my characters +1. I was used to playing Lumiere, so threw off my math a little bit, so at least lesson here is read your cards. And Josh plays a Great Illuminari, so he plays that early, so he's going to be able to start to get cards off of it. There's nothing that my Madam Mim can really do to be able to challenge it in, to be able to take it out. So he's going to get a good couple turns off of it. Lexington comes down on my side. I mean, Josh doesn't have any other evasives for me to worry about, but a 4/4 is pretty good. He uses Elsa to exert it, and he's going to get rid of it to keep his characters safe, which is smart. And then I'm going to play a Genie, which will let me draw a card. Back to Josh's turn there. Josh is going to play and use the Junior Woodchuck Guidebook right away to draw 2 cards, which is great. Looking at Josh's hand there's a good amount of kind of high-costed stuff. He's going to use move Elsa to the Great Illuminari. He's going to kind of quest, and it goes back to my turn here, I think. A lot of these decks is thinking, making sure that you're kind of, especially combo, making sure that you're satisfied with what you've done this turn, making sure that you've hit all of your ink drops. So Josh does need to hit an ink drop, so he inks his only Donald in the deck. Back to my turn here. I'm going to play a Dumbo. And Josh has an Elsa, but the nice thing is that if the Elsa swings into the genie, then the genie will trade the Elsa. I use the genie, who's got a challenger +1 from the Madam Mim Tiny Advisory to take out the Great Illuminari. I don't want Josh to have extra cards. I learned this from the first game in the series. Extra cards is not a good idea. And then again, Josh is having to kind of sit here and debate what pieces does he need now versus what does he need later. And he's got a lot of uninkables, it looks like, in his hand. So he plays a Cheshire Cat. He's going to quest for 1 with the Huey, which means his next character is going to cost 1 less. And he plays a Genie for 3 then to be able to draw another card. Going back to my turn, I am going to ink a Demona. I love Demona. I never like inking her, but we're going to ink a Demona, and I sing Strength of a Raging Fire with Dumbo to get rid of his Huey to stop some of those discounts. And then I play the Demona to exert all of his characters. I'm going to then try to clean things up on my side here, so Genie's going to go into Elsa, and then I'm going to pass the turn. Josh is going to ink one of his We Know the Ways, and then he's going to use Elsa to exert Demona. I think this means she's not going to ready on my turn. I see 3 cards in my hand. And I think that is why he chose the Demona, so that I couldn't use her to challenge into his characters. He is going to challenge in and use Cheshire Cat to move damage around and clean up my characters while keeping his nice and safe, and then he's going to quest. I'm going to play an Elsa. All of his characters are exerted anyways, so I am going to swing into Genie and clean it up. That was Josh just reminding me, no, I had 3 cards in my hand that Demona does not ready. Now I'm going to play a Calhoun and hope he doesn't play any more evasives so that I can clean them up with Calhoun. Josh uses the Horseman Strikes on my Elsa, and then he plays another one of those Hueys to get more discounts. Moving damage around with Cheshire Cat to clean up my Calhoun. I mean, I should have seen that coming. But I wanted to play her just in case. There's a lot of other options to be able to move that damage around to. Giving him options means that at least some of my characters will survive. I play a Dumbo and a Cheshire Cat. I'm hoping to be able to draw cards off of that Dumbo to be able to get myself, again, back in the game. I'm empty-handed. And Josh is going to play Alan O'Dale. So Alan O'Dale playing it, I mean, it's not as risky as you would think, because if it goes into the discard pile, it's not that big of a deal. You can get it back with We Know the Way. But he's going to play that, and then he's going to play the Great Illuminari. So there are 2 of his major combo pieces out right there. All he needs is Monstro, and he will... a Monstro and a turn to pass, and he'll win the game. Back to my turn here. I am trying to think. He's got a lot of threats that I can't necessarily answer. Don't know which ones I need to answer right away, but I do need kind of cards in my hand. Either way, I use the Dumbo to swing into the Elsa, and my Cheshire Cat to move damage around to clean up that Elsa. And then I'm going to use Demona to swing into the Great Illuminari and get rid of that. So that is one of his combo pieces done. He draws a Monstro. He doesn't need the Monstro to stick around for a turn, so it's not a big deal not having the combo piece in his hand right now. He's going to use Monstro to get rid of Demona, which is smart, and then he's going to discard a card to ready Monstro to keep Monstro safe. So I really need an Elsa or something to get rid of Monstro. It's only 3 more damage I need to put on Monstro, but him showing me that he has the Monstro does mean in my mind I need to think, oh no, he could win next turn. I empty out my hand just in case he can't win, and I decide not to quest with everything again, just in case he doesn't have the rest of the combo. It means that I can try to smartly use my resources kind of to my advantage and not his. He is going to play a Cheshire Cat, and he's going to move damage around twice now that he's got 2 Cheshire Cats out. And he's going to clean up my field and leave his Monstro in pretty good shape. Back to my turn here, so I'm just going to try to play out as much stuff as I can. So we didn't have the combo last turn, which means that I don't want to necessarily just throw my resources away, turning them sideways. And so I'm going to play out things and pass. Josh did get the combo piece this turn, so he plays the Great Illuminari, which means he can go through his deck and go up to 20 lore with the We Know the Way combo. So that was our match for the week. Some thoughts, I guess we'll do Monstro first on the Monstro list, which is that it needs 2 Alan O'Dales, in my opinion. I know that this list finished first at the CCQ, and that's great, and it's great to have an all-in combo list that can kind of shock people and come out of nowhere and go from 0 to 20, and your opponent just sitting there not sure. They could be at 19, and you could be at 0, and it's still a kind of a toss-up of if you have the combo, you're going to win the game. It is not an unbeatable list. It's very easy to get rid of Monstro. I guess not very easy, but it's totally possible to get rid of Monstro if you need to, especially if you, on the other side, if you have like Hades or Elsa's to exert him to be able to challenge him down, you can get rid of a Monstro. He might be difficult, he might wipe your field as you are clearing him out, but if combo does not have its combo pieces, it is weak enough that it is really going to struggle to win the game. And so taking out those combo pieces is important. Which is why I totally think there should be 2 Allens in this deck. Josh was stuck game 2 with an Alan-a-Dale in his hand, and there was uninkables in his hand, and the inkables that he really needed to play early game in order to be able to stabilize enough in the early to mid game to get to that late game. And he just didn't really do it effectively because the Alan-a-Dale was stuck in his hand, and as only a 1 of in the deck, it meant that he knew if he inked it, that's it, the combo was done. There was absolutely no way for him to combo off, and he had to win by questing. Which meant that in his mind, he was holding that Alan-a-Dale when he probably should have inked it to be able to take out my stuff with his stuff. Because he didn't think that that winning the game without the combo was strong enough to be able to actually, win the game. Cheshire Cat feels really good in this deck. And a 1 of Donald we thought was good enough because the Great Illuminari was nice and was able to get us benefits early game. By being able to play it and be able to put characters there, draw some cards quick, to be able to draw to that Monstro, we know the way, combo pieces. But definitely for sure, something needs to be cut to put in a second Alan-a-Dale. And our thoughts are Circle of Life. Circle of Life, cute idea. Really like the idea of bringing Monstro back from the discard pile. However, like having that second Alan-a-Dale we think is just so important. That we would personally cut the Circle of Life to put in the Alan-a-Dale. Talking about the other list, so the Purple Steel one. Great list, very strong, great removal. I didn't really miss he hurled his lightning bolt. I mean, it's uninkable and it only does 4 damage. 2 of them could take out a Monstro. But I don't think that that's kind of enough to be able to put that in. I did like the removal options that we had, which was the Strength of a Raging Fire, and the Cheshire Cat. Cheshire Cat's kind of a great removal piece. I wish it was Belle because I have the Enchantments and I think she's really pretty, but Cheshire Cat is definitely the stronger card. It is one of the standout cards, I think, coming out of Whispers in the Wall, along with cards like Demona. So that was what I have for you for the week. It is a new monster of a deck week. The thing that I really like is that every week there's a new deck that is coming out on top, and all the other ones are still staying towards the top of the list. And so it feels like it's a really frustrating meta because there's lots of options out there, but that's great. It's nice to be able to see a whole bunch of different decks being brewed. So that's what I got for you for this week. We're going to be playing Racers against one of these decks later on, so if you want to see our updated version of Racers, I will have that for you in a couple of days.